Welcome to the Lone Wolfer Garage Moto Vlog. I am your host, Lone Wolfer. It is an absolutely beautiful spring day here on the shoreline of Connecticut. Today, my girlfriend and I went out for a bicycle ride, another form of two wheels. I just picked up a new Trek 820 mountain bike off of Craigslist for $30. Looked pretty rough. I thought I was going to have to do a lot more work to it. Turns out, just need to pump up the tires, give it a good cleaning, and it rides fantastically. So we went down to Hammonasset State Park and went for a little ride along the beach there. It was absolutely beautiful today. It was great to get out there on the bike, the bicycle. It is absolutely great right now to be out on the motorcycle. This little bike right here. She is one of my favorite things in the world. Puppies. Hello, puppies. It being the springtime and beautiful outside, I wanted to talk about the outside. I happen to love the great outdoors, and one of my favorite things in the world is to go hiking, spend time in the woods, go camping. Every year around my birthday, I like to take a little adventure to parts known and unknown. For the past few years, I have been riding up to New Hampshire around the time of Laconia Bike Week. Not a huge fan of the actual, main Weirs Beach Strip headquarters area, but just going up there in general when there's a lot of bikes, it's awesome to see the different types of motorcycles that people own in general, what they build, what they customize. Saw this amazing trike last year up in Lincoln, which is about 45 miles north of Lake Winnipesaukee up in the White Mountains, and had a great sticker on it that said danger. I did all the welding on this bike myself, but it was an awesome looking machine. It looked like a lot of fun, real comfortable looking. Real jealous of that guy. He made something real cool. Hope to one day do that myself. Just haven't really gotten to that point in my life where I have the space to do that. But I do take this sort of birthday pilgrimage out to the woods somewhere every year. I've been doing this since my 20s. And usually I go up and I camp in the White Mountains for the weekend. I highly recommend it. But the first year that I went, 4 years ago, I was horribly unprepared. I did not expect temperatures to drop as low as they did, and they got down to about 35, maybe 4 degrees in the middle of the night up in the White Mountains on the Kangamangas Highway or the Kank, where I was camping. Absolutely fantastic place to go camping. Lots of great little camp areas with really clean, neat camp spots. Or if you want to go off trail and actually just literally park and walk a quarter mile into the woods and find a spot, you can totally do that as long as you check in with the rangers and let them know roughly where you're going to be. And it's an absolutely breathtaking ride or drive. Can't recommend it enough. But the first year I went up there with no real itinerary, no real plan. I brought a tent, a blanket, not a good enough blanket, some stuff to make a fire, and some food. Just basically strapped everything to the handlebars of my bike, and the rest of it in the backpack, and went. And the ride up was fucking absolutely amazing. It was awesome. Took like 4 hours. I took it slow, kind of. Just meandered my way up there. Got up there around probably 1 p.m. When you get there, there's just nothing but motorcycles everywhere during Bike Week. Thousands and thousands of motorcycles. It sounds awesome. It looks awesome, but then there's the traffic. The traffic is what just fucking blows, just sucks so bad. So I actually got out of some of the traffic and went a different direction, and I happened to find demo rides. There was quite a long line, but I was like, you know what, I really think I want to try to ride one of these Victories. I've heard so much about them, and as we know now, Victory is going to be shutting its doors, or has shut its doors, so that Polaris can focus on the Indian brand, which I understand. Just I hope they take all that technology from the Victory bikes and put it towards you know, everything they're doing, because I was really kind of looking forward to the, totally blanking on the name of the electric bike they have, but seeing where they're going to go with that, because they got it out, or bought the company that was they used and rebranded before Harley had a chance to actually get their line going of electric bikes. I hope they all do. I think it's a great idea. Showed up, there was a lot of people there, and I'm standing in line, and I'm like, oh, it's like, I've been standing there for like 20 minutes, and then a half an hour. I'm like, all right, you know what, screw this. I can't just stand around in line waiting to ride a bike when I could be riding around, you know, New Hampshire, going through great twisty turning roads and just seeing all the beautiful sights. So I walked back around my bike, and there were these two guys, one of them on a Victory, the other one on a Sportster. He was on a classic 1200, and these guys were looking at my bike, and they're like, oh man, I love the look of these Nightsters, and I love what you did here. You know, the way you've got the T-bar setup going. I put a power commander to my bike that is mapped specifically for Arlen Ness Big Sucker and the Vance & Hines Short Shot, so I still maintain pretty good gas mileage. Every once in a while I've got some pretty serious backfiring going, but it really, honestly, it depends on the humidity of the day. But yeah, so we're talking, and these guys were actually real cool. They're like, oh, you're not from around here? This is your first time up here? Because they had asked me some questions. You should ride with us for a little while. And I'm like, all right, cool. Personally, I'm not big into riding with other people. As my channel's name goes, the loner part is pretty, you know, specific. I don't mind other riders. I love that other people ride motorcycles. I love all that stuff. But personally, I just like being alone on the bike and in life in general. And especially riding in large groups of bikers. One fucking moron does something stupid, it can ruin everybody's day, if not their lifetime. And I just would rather ride alone, far away from other people. But there was no getting around riding near other people at Laconia during bike week. It's just, it's wall-to-wall motorcycles, just everywhere. So I started riding with these guys, and because we're going slow, we were actually able to talk quite a bit. You know, we really weren't getting out of first gear much. It was like just a little bit of stop and go and just moving slow. And we're talking. Turns out one of the guys had worked for IBM for years, was loaded, just absolutely loaded, owned an island on Lake Winnipesaukee. And then the other guy he owned a construction business. He was telling me stories about how he wanted to learn how to fly a plane. And he looked it up, and in New Hampshire, supposedly, you don't need a license to fly solo. So he found an old plane, got it running again, and cut down a bunch of trees on his property and made an airstrip. Even if this wasn't true, it was a great fucking story. Telling me about how his first time landing, after reading all the manuals and like doing simulations, like he said he pissed himself when he did it. But yeah, so we ended up getting over to Weirs Beach, and they're like, all right, when we get down there, don't go to the right, just follow us and go to the left, because the way it's set up is that it's a one-way street, only motorcycles can ride onto it, and there's bikes parked, you know, butt to butt in the center, and then bikes on the side parked up against the curb. So they're like, come into the left with us. So everybody's going to the right, everybody's going to the right. We go into the left, and immediately there's a bunch of empty spots, and we can see on the left, on the right-hand side, that there's no spots open. All these people are going to have to go through, go all the way up and around if they don't find a spot, which is about 2 miles or so, but it takes like a fucking hour because of all the traffic, all the bikes that are in there. So we pull in, back our bikes in, which I always recommend doing. Never pull your bike into a parking spot or anywhere if you don't have to. Like if there's any way not to, if it's your only option to park nose in, fine. But if not, always back your bike in. Quickest escape. So yeah, we parked, and one of the guys that were with, his name was John, and he takes off his shoes, his boots, and he pulls a pair of slippers out of his saddlebags, which I now do. I always carry, on any long ride, I carry slippers with me of some sort, or sandals, just so that I can take my boots off. especially when it's hot, man. It's such a welcome relief. And he goes, hey, you want to go get some coffee? And I'm like, yeah, sure, man. And we start walking. And as we're walking, we take this like little side street, and there's nobody on the side street, nobody. And on the other streets, it's just packed with people. It's absolutely packed. And then we take a right into this parking lot, and it's a church. And I'm like, oh, okay. And it says coffee house, blah, blah, blah church. And I'm like, oh, okay, maybe they just got free coffee here. I'm okay with that. I'll go get some coffee. And we walk in the door, and John turns to me and he goes, I gotta ask you a real important question. Have you discovered Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior? And I just started laughing. Not that I have anything against with people of faith or being one with Jesus and all these types of things, but the entire time that I was like riding around with these guys talking, I thought they were selling something, but I thought it was going to be like Progressive Insurance, not Jesus Christ. That's it for me for now. I'm going to go enjoy the fuck out of these roads and this beautiful weather.